Welcome everyone to the 118th Celebrity Synastry chart reading, where I will be looking into Lisa and Jennie Kim. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Adeline and it is so nice to meet you. On this channel, I look at the dynamic between two celebrities using astrology. For those new and returning, I take notes on a synastry chart looking at the personal planet signs aspects and, if birth time is available, house overlays. I share these notes and add my extra insights and interpretations along the way. So if that sounds good to you, subscribe and click the bell to join us weekly, and let's get right into this one. Starting off with the sun, we have Lisa's sun in Aries and Jennie's sun in Capricorn. These are both cardinal signs. They are both active and motivated, and they have contrasting social needs. Lisa's impulsiveness clashes with Jennie's conservatism, and Lisa is encouraging to Jennie. Jennie helps Lisa deal with her abundant energy. So just based off this little synopsis, these little notes, the contrasting social needs, I'm assuming that Lisa is a bit more of the extroverted one compared to Jennie potentially being a bit more introverted. Lisa's sun overlaid in Jennie's 4th house. There's a sense of familiarity and Jennie trusts Lisa deeply. There's a strong desire to live together. I probably should have checked right before I started filming this, but I'm pretty sure these two are in the same band, the same group together. So obviously if you are, in the same group, you're touring a lot, you do end up living together, which you could also see this as they have a strong desire to do tours together frequently maybe. Jennie feels secure around Lisa, and Lisa is very protective of Jennie. Lisa feels they belong together, which you could see this as she feels like her and Jennie would be good in like a group setting and like are meant to make music together sort of thing. They are both committed to each other. Jennie's sun overlaid in Lisa's 7th house. It is love-hate and they feel united together. So they seem to be very much committed to, making music together, being in the same group together, working in that sort of partnership. They are deeply moved by each other and they get in each other's heads. They sense that they are complementary and they both subconsciously try to prove they are separate from the relationship. This is interesting. I wonder if it is a situation where they do have a group together, they're in the same group, but they do their own like solo projects on the side maybe to like differentiate themselves. They feel the other is a big presence in their life and they need to find a balance to make the relationship work. I mean, I'm definitely starting to lean towards now because like I feel like the beginning so far, it was a lot of like they feel very okay with like, living together. They're okay with all of that, being close and everything. But obviously you can't, if you're around someone all the time, it's going to be a bit tenuous and all of that. So obviously needing to find a balance between obviously touring and being together a lot versus their own independence, because they seem to want to prove themselves away from it as well. Hopefully that all made sense. They both may be driven to express themselves in extreme ways, and possibility of their personalities being lost in their relationship. The way I would interpret this is, as far as I know, like from what I've heard about K-pop, it is very much, obviously it would be the same in like, American media and all that, very manufactured. But from what I know about K-pop, it is very much that old Hollywood mindset of like, you have a star, potential star, and they're pretty much a clean slate for you to, do your own thing with. So, I'm not sure if like K-pop did as far as like old Hollywood with like completely new name, new look and everything. But your personality, your real personality is very much put at the very back burner, probably even in the bin, honestly. And then, the media company does whatever they want. So I wonder if like, going into the band is where they like lost their personalities in the relationship of being in the band. Lisa's sun is sextile Jennie's Mars. They motivate each other and they give each other space, which is nice. We were wanting to see that balance. They have different hobbies and Lisa admires Jennie's drive. They can further the other's goals and they both give the other confidence. They are straightforward with each other and they participate in activities together. I mean, obviously, if they work together, neither feels blocked and they tend to get annoyed with each other. I mean, in the beginning we did see like they have that sort of like introverted versus extrovert nature, I imagine that would be the main cause of why they could get irritated and a bit annoyed with each other. Lisa's sun square Jennie's Jupiter. They have different values and they may overindulge each other. Excess is from good intention, and Jennie has the ability to cheer up Lisa. They have a strong desire to make each other happy, and they both may expect too much from their relationship. I wonder if this is simply just terms of like the success they expected to receive. They both encourage each other to self-indulge and be impractical. Considering we did see right in the beginning, I think it was Lisa's the one that's more impulsive. I assume this will be mainly coming from her. Lisa's sun, Trine Jennie's Pluto, is transformative and a productive relationship. I would say that's one way to put it, because I think obviously they've received enough success for them to have fans to, do this. They are fascinated with each other and they both want to get to know each other deeply. Jennie inspires Lisa to dramatically transform herself, which we did see that, Jennie is the one helping Lisa with the abundant energy. And I feel like Jennie potentially being a bit more conservative we saw in the beginning as well. Maybe that encourages Lisa to maybe like harness that energy and like, knuckle down and work. Jennie's sun square Lisa's Mercury. They have similar problem solving and they don't always see eye to eye, potentially another reason why they may tend to get annoyed with each other. Lack of emotional satisfaction, and they challenge each other's perspectives, which we did see the different values thing, which I didn't think of at the time, but like again, Jennie's conservatism, maybe she just has those more conservative values, whereas Lisa, does not, maybe more liberal values. There's a contrast in temperament and life goals. So far, life goals, I don't see it. Maybe we'll see a bit more, but it seems like so far they're on very much the same page of things when in terms of life goals, seemingly so. Contrast in temperament, obviously we have seen that already sprinkled in, so that's definitely there. They find it difficult to discuss ideas and they both need to respect the other's differences. Lisa sees Jennie as too self-centered. Again, I feel like this is, I don't want to say a common thing with like extroverts and introverts, but you definitely get those extroverts where there is an introvert, they want to maybe like recluse a bit more and all of that. They can definitely be seen by the extrovert as being a bit more self-centered, wanting to be by themselves a lot. So I definitely see that. Jennie sees Lisa as too rational and emotionally detached. Interesting. Jennie's sun, Trine Lisa's Mars. They are supportive of each other and there is healthy competitiveness. Neither feels blocked by the other. I mean, besides like seems to be a bit of like a bump in like terms of communication and all of that. Otherwise, we have seen like it's very productive and all of that, so, They can deal with challenges together, and Jennie admires Lisa's drive and courage. They encourage the other's goals and visions, and they express themselves in a straightforward manner. They both can rely on each other when they are demotivated, which I think is always nice when you are looking at these like Synastry charts when there are two like band people touring together. It is nice to see like these like, glimpses of like they can rely on each other when they are demotivated, because I'm sure there would be a lot of, you would get drained from it and all of that. So it's nice to see these moments of like support and all of that. Jennie's sun conjunct to Lisa's Neptune. It's a very spiritual relationship and Jennie is fascinated by Lisa. There's intuitive communication and understanding, and they both need to be careful to not confuse reality and illusions. I think this could be potentially related to how we saw the personalities being lost in their relationship. There would definitely be a very clear line between like who you actually are, your private life, versus your public life and your public persona and everything. So I wonder if there could be some issues in terms of like maybe, I don't know, they met each other before their, personalities and personas were created. Maybe that's where there could be issues with reality and illusions. I'm feeling something there. This relationship boosts Jennie's intuitiveness. Now for the intermission, this video is brought to you by me, my Etsy store, Adeline the Astrologer. If you ever watch this and think, hey, I would like her to read my Synastry chart, well, I will. I do personalized Synastry chart readings on my Etsy store. I do both basic and detailed ones. The basic ones are a bit more simple to understand and really good for those just beginning out in astrology, getting their heads around it, or just as a fun gift idea. The detailed readings are very similar to what I do here, so it's a lot of it just with my insights and interpretation on the chart. So if you're interested in that and everything else, astrology and tarot, readings and gifts, definitely check out my Etsy store for that. I'm always releasing new other things there as well. And you can even just favorite the store just to support me for free. Thank you for listening, and let's get back to the reading. So now it's time for moon. Lisa's moon in Scorpio and also Jennie's moon in Scorpio. So it's volatile and passionate, which I'm not really surprised. I'm not too shocked with the volatile thing. Like, the impression I'm getting so far, like, they definitely have their challenges of like how they are as people, you know, the contrast in temperaments. There is a deep attachment and they understand each other's emotions very well, which we did see like possibility to get explosive if they clash, and they both crave intense emotional experiences, which is maybe obviously why it could be a bit more on the volatile side, more of that deep attachment and everything. But we did see the whole like spirituality thing, which I feel like would be very closely related to having those intense emotional experiences. Lisa's moon overlaid in Jennie's 11th house. They both feel they can be themselves, and Lisa feels at ease around Jennie. They're never really mad at each other, and Jennie feels relaxed around Lisa. I'm kind of glad that they're never really mad at each other, because it seems like there could definitely be, you know, a bit of conflict here, which I feel like, honestly, not to be stereotypical, but like, you know, in that sort of like, if it is a massive group of girls like all stuck together, you're going to have drama, honestly. Jennie's moon overlaid in Lisa's 5th house. Jennie drops her emotional guard around Lisa, which is maybe why, because we did see how Jennie sees Lisa as being a bit more emotionally detached. So maybe like she opens up her emotions to Lisa and it doesn't get like reciprocated, so to speak. Jennie feels an emotional connection with Lisa, and Lisa appreciates their emotional relationship. They both enjoy spending time together and they have lots of fun together. Lisa's moon is square Jennie's Mars. It's a stormy relationship we're kind of seeing again, and it's an emotional roller coaster, which they could potentially appreciate because we did see how they both crave intense emotional experiences, so this could very well be working for them. Jennie doesn't have the patience to connect with Lisa's feelings. So there is a weird thing, like they both seem to want an emotional connection, but they're not really willing to reciprocate it for the other, it seems like. Hopefully we'll see more. They're very reactive to each other, and there is possibility for codependency. I wonder if maybe that is where, because we did see the whole issue, like they want to separate themselves from here. I wonder if maybe they got used to, like they potentially could want to, you know, separate themselves, have their independence. But I'm sure there would be a sense of security in having a band in the music industry, because it's like you kind of have a constant support in a way. Jennie's independence makes Lisa feel insecure, so I'm imagining like they are in similar bands, but it's because it seems like their independence and having that independence is an issue, so I'm assuming they are in a similar band. I'm pretty sure they are. I really should have checked that before. It's hard to relax together and resentment can grow. Jennie's moon is sextile Lisa's Mars. They are open with each other and Lisa feels more assertive. I mean, she would feel a lot more assertive in terms of, I feel like, being a bit more extroverted and being overpowering in that way. Jennie makes Lisa feel at ease and there is mutual fascination, which I feel like we've seen already a couple times, like some fascination notes, so that is there. Lisa helps Jennie be more confident and bold, and Jennie feeds into Lisa's ego. Gosh, they both learn about themselves here, and it can be tumultuous at times, which we've started to see sprinkled in a very interesting U-turn. Jennie's moon is square Lisa's Jupiter. There's a tendency to be extreme and excessive, which we have seen, like there is that tendency to overindulge, be excessive before, so that's there again. They are too optimistic as a couple, and poor judgment can lead to trouble. Okay. There's a failing to keep promises. I wonder if that is maybe why each of their independence, if that makes it, that's not worded correctly, but I wonder if that is why both of them becoming independent potentially is, you know, not very great, because potentially they could have promised to, like, you know, obviously in contract form, you know, to stay with the band for a certain amount of time. But potentially just between themselves, like, we're going to stick to this band, we're not going to go off and become independent, we're going to do this together. So I wonder if there was some kind of promise like that, whether it is contractual or just verbal between themselves, and that was failed to be obtained. They both feel free with their emotions and they meet in an optimistic way. It's a relationship about determining boundaries, which we did see the whole balance thing, which, I mean, I guess we've seen a couple notes that they do seem to try have that balance. They both will learn better judgment, and Jennie may become possessive of Lisa. So now it's time for Mercury. We have Lisa's Mercury in Aries and Jennie's Mercury in Aquarius. They have common ground, and Jennie's interest in gossiping tires Lisa. Jennie doesn't understand how Lisa takes things personally, and they share positive and outgoing communication. Lisa's Mercury overlaid in Jennie's 4th house. Jennie's emotions are sensitive to Lisa's words, so again, I assume this would be contributing to the emotional chaos, honestly, of this relationship. Jennie can predict what Lisa will say, which is going back to how this relationship boosts Jennie's intuitiveness in particular. So it seems like she's very much in tune with Lisa. Jennie is comfortable with Lisa, and they both fit well in each other's lives, which, I mean, they are, I don't want to say they're forced to, but in a way, if you're in a band together, you're kind of forced to make it work for most of your time. Jennie's Mercury overlaid in Lisa's 7th house. Jennie senses Lisa will accept the way she thinks, and Jennie finds it easy to communicate with Lisa. There is strong communication, and they have an intellectual bond. Lisa's Mercury squared Jennie's Neptune. They think creatively around each other, and Lisa misunderstands Jennie. I'm not really surprised, considering the more tumultuous nature of things. It's not shocking they have misunderstandings, is my point. They both need to be clearer with communication, and Lisa sees Jennie as abstract. Jennie feels limited by Lisa. Maybe it is a matter of, I don't know, Jennie literally making abstracts of, potential maybe independent career in the future, maybe independent songs and stuff like that. Literally abstracts of it. So I wonder if maybe she feels limited by Lisa because it doesn't feel like she can be creative, because I'm sure with all artists this happens. You have your own little creative thing and you can't necessarily use it or release it for whatever reason. And so it's just your own little artwork, so to speak. So I wonder if that is where she feels a bit limited. She literally can't even create her own thing to try. Jennie sees Lisa as practical and logical, and Lisa's trust for Jennie fades. Ooh. So it seems like potentially Jennie. If any of them are leaving the band, it seems like it would be Jennie. Jennie feels misunderstood by Lisa. See, this would also suck if they are suspecting her of wanting to leave the band and not being as committed, and it literally is just a misunderstanding. Jennie's Mercury sextile Lisa's Venus. They encourage each other to express themselves, and there is easy communication. They're attuned emotionally. The only way I see this is they both seem to be a bit more on the chaotic side emotionally. Otherwise, coming together, it's a bit, chaos. They enjoy the same movies and music, and they enjoy socializing together, and they share mutual friends. Jennie's Mercury conjunct to Lisa's Uranus. Lisa challenges Jennie's way of thinking, which I feel we've seen that they definitely have different, ways of approaching life and all of that. The contrast in temperaments, I think particularly intellectually and in terms of, I know I bring it up already a couple times, but the whole extrovert-introvert thing, I feel like that is a bit, that's important here, I think. It seems to be relevant to these two and how the dynamic works. They're impulsive together and they both enjoy experimenting, which if this is in terms of artistically, then I would feel for Jennie, because that sucks. Because if they're both kind of experimenting with music and stuff like that, and maybe Jennie just creates something for herself just to, explore something, and then it gets interpreted as, defying the band or whatever, that sucks. They come up with original ideas together and they discover new ways of seeing the world together. I mean, I'm sure it would be a very unique experience, especially if they are this is their first exposure to the media and in the music industry and all of that. That is definitely an intense experience to have together. So, you would learn that together. Jennie truly understands Lisa's originality, which is, again, why I would kind of feel for Jennie. If she, is trying to be understanding of Lisa and that doesn't seem to be reciprocated, that does suck. They grow intellectually together and they casually talk about taboos. They share an interest in unusual topics and they are creative together. And they find uncommon solutions to problems. Jennie's Mercury conjunct Lisa's Neptune. Spirituality is prioritized and they have a telepathic-like connection. These seems to be a bit more on Jennie's end, because we saw how her intuition is increased here. Jennie helps Lisa turn her dreams into reality. We haven't really seen anything to indicate that one helps more than the other in terms of like breaking into the industry. Like, we haven't seen that, Jennie's the one opening the doors or like vice versa. But that is there. Hopefully you'll see more maybe. Habit of telling the other what they want to hear, and there's deceptive and exaggerative communication, which I'm not shocked considering it seems like they can very easily get into an argument. Jennie finds Lisa confusing. In terms of like the whole creativity thing and independence thing, same. They're compassionate towards each other and it's hard to talk about practical matters. Jennie's Mercury sextile Lisa's Pluto. They're interested in unique subjects together, which is repeated, and there's a therapist-patient relationship. I feel like every time I see therapist-patient, I'm like, yeah, I see that. I feel like with these two it would kind of be chaotic because emotionally they seem to be a bit of a mess when they come together. Like, if they both as individuals, have a bit more turbulent emotions, together, that would be, very comforting. But from what we have seen, it seems like it is more of an emotional roller coaster than not. They get to the bottom of things quickly and they share a lot together. Jennie is fascinated by Lisa's depth and Lisa appreciates Jennie's humor. They tell each other their deepest secrets, which, we have seen like a couple times here. Like, they do have a strong bond. Like, they discover a new way of seeing the world together. There is that codependency. Like, I'm sure they've been through a lot together, considering their circumstances. They both heal from past relationships together, and Lisa opens up Jennie to new ways of thinking. They resolve deeper matters together, and Jennie uplifts Lisa. So now it's time for Venus. We have Lisa's Venus in Aries and Jennie's Venus in Pisces. Lisa leads, so I assume that maybe she's literally one of the lead singers, maybe? Lisa finds Jennie enticing, which we have seen, I think I've pointed out before. We've seen sprinkled throughout the reading, like there is this like fascination with each other, so they definitely seem to find each other interesting. Jennie's unclear nature is confusing to Lisa, which we did see Lisa sees her as a bit more abstract. They have a lot to offer the other. Lisa's Venus overlaid in Jennie's 4th house. Lisa feels the need to protect herself from Jennie. Okay. Jennie senses Lisa's hesitancy. There is strong magnetism, which again, I feel like is related to like the fascination with each other. Uncertainty and tension characterizes the relationship. Definitely the tension. Like, it's very chaotic. Jennie's Venus overlaid in Lisa's 8th house. Jennie is captivated by Lisa and Jennie is willing to do anything for Lisa, which I imagine would relate to the whole codependency nature of it all. It's a transformative relationship, which obviously, so not surprisingly. Lisa's Venus sextile Jennie's Mars. Energizing relationship for Lisa, and Jennie feels confident around Lisa. I think we have seen on both ends that they help each other be more confident, I'm pretty sure. Jennie helps Lisa out of her comfort zone, which I would think would be the other way around, considering like Lisa seems to be more extroverted, Jennie more introverted. And, you would think it would be the extrovert helping, the introvert come out of the shell and all of that. But I wonder if maybe Lisa just feels very, natural just being around people all the time. Maybe stepping out of her comfort zone would be, slowing down a bit, having solo time and just, focusing, being productive maybe. Lisa's Venus squared Jennie's Jupiter. Lisa feels more confident and attractive around Jennie, and it's a promising relationship, which I assume this would be in terms of like the band itself, they probably thought this was going to be very promising, which I imagine it is. They can find a happy way to share their life, and Jennie may be irritated with Lisa's possessiveness. Again, going back to the codependency, it is very weird though, because it seems like they want the same things, but they are irritated the other wants them. Like, they both seem to want emotional connection with the other, but it doesn't seem like they want to give it to the other. And like this possessiveness thing, like we have Jennie wanting to do anything for Lisa, we just saw, but also doesn't like that Lisa may also want something from her. You know, if that makes sense, it's a bit weird. Lisa's Venus trine at Jennie's Pluto. It's emotionally fulfilling and it's not likely to grow stale. We haven't really seen anything particularly that they enjoy the chaos, but I imagine if they, because we did see they both, you know, are a bit more emotional people. So I wonder if it simply just works for them, all the chaos and all of that. They both enjoy growing from the relationship. Jennie's Venus square Lisa's Pluto. There's a fine line between love and hate, not surprisingly so. And they have an intense fear of losing each other, which seems to be a bit more on Lisa's end. It seems like she's more suspicious of Jennie than the other way around. They bring out each other's deepest insecurities and they have power struggles. They cannot be just friends after. So I wonder if like potentially like they're, you know, I'm not sure that I seriously should have looked up if they are even in a band together in the first place and if they were still together. Because what I'm seeing is potentially Lisa feels betrayed by Jennie. Like the independence thing seems to be an issue. So I wonder if it is like they, you know, just go their separate ways once they become independent and just cannot, you know, interact in the same way ever again. Lisa has the higher power, which I assume would just be a bit more due to her extrovertedness and, you know, natural dominance, you could say. So now it's time for Mars. We have Lisa's Mars in Virgo and Jennie's Mars in Aquarius. Jennie tends to be critical of Lisa and it's an experimental relationship and Lisa isn't satisfied with Jennie. The only way I can see this is potentially Jennie trying to, you know, explain herself, you know, her own like little endeavors and all of that, and Lisa maybe isn't satisfied with like her answers. Lisa's Mars overlaid in Jennie's 9th house. They have a strong need to travel together and they have easygoing chemistry. Lisa is more straightforward around Jennie and Lisa feels she can have a good time with Jennie. Lisa is drawn to Jennie, again, the whole fascination, interest thing. Jennie's Mars overlaid in Lisa's 7th house. Jennie speeds up the relationship, which this is the closest we're getting to like how they sort of like got together, so to speak, particularly in the band. Because we did see that Jennie helps Lisa turn her dreams into reality. So potentially like with Jennie speeding up the relationship, it seems like maybe Jennie had more connections and like brought Lisa along for the ride and all of that. Jennie is calmer around Lisa and Jennie wants to please Lisa, which we did see the whole thing where she's willing to do anything for her. They both enjoy spending time together. Lisa's Mars opposite Jennie's Saturn. They both will discover what they want from a relationship, which they could see this as maybe like what they want out of a band or like out of like, you know, their relationship with the music industry. But potentially I assume like if they are spending so much time together, I assume you would talk about many things. Like if you're around each other all the time, you would cover many topics of conversation, particularly how we saw that they, you know, have that therapist-patient dynamic. They both heal from past relationships together. So I wonder if in that way, just talking as friends, they would learn a lot about that. Jennie finds Lisa's energy attractive initially. Okay. Jennie becomes annoyed with Lisa's childishness and Jennie tries to control Lisa. Again, that sort of like introverted, quiet thing, maybe wanting Lisa to calm down. Lisa becomes rebellious to Jennie and Lisa feels she's always being watched by Jennie. They have difference in views we're seeing again, so definitely very different people it seems like. Lisa's Mars trine Jennie's Neptune. There is a lack of boundaries. Boundaries seem to be a very interesting thing here because we've seen already a few times how they need to learn to balance things. They need to learn boundaries. There is role playing. I assume this would be related to them literally having a different persona in, you know, in the music industry and all of that. Lisa is more dominant and Jennie strengthens Lisa's ego, which I think we're seeing again repeated. And Lisa feels more confident around Jennie. Jennie's Mars conjunct Lisa's Uranus. Lisa's independence is attractive to Jennie. I wonder if this is in terms of like maybe Jennie being quite open to like both of them having their own independent careers, maybe while they're in a band or like just going away from the band. And that is probably why Jennie's a bit more frustrated with this whole like independence thing. And it seems like there is an issue particularly with Jennie and her feelings like with the band and leaving it potentially. It is unconventional. That's definitely a, you know, good way to put it. Like especially for a girl band. There's not a whole lot of like girl bands compared to boy bands and boy groups. There's a possibility of volatility we did see before and Lisa can trigger Jennie's temper. They have explosive sudden arguments that diffuse quickly, and Jennie sees Lisa as a friend. I wonder again if this is, because we did see they cannot be just friends after. I wonder if this is again relation to the whole like independent issue, where potentially, you know, Jennie sees Lisa as a friend in terms of like she wants the best for her as a friend and doesn't necessarily see her as like a colleague she has competition with. They may encourage each other to engage in reckless behavior. Jennie's Mars sextile Lisa's Pluto. It's competitive. As I'm just saying, it's not competitive at all. I guess this would be a bit more on Lisa's end then. It's potential to be destructive or dangerous, and there are power issues and dramatic fights here. This is kind of like, throughout this reading, there's just been notes of like pure chaos. So that was the final aspect, bringing us to the end of the reading. If you are still watching, please share your thoughts below. I'd be very curious to see what you guys have to say about this one. At the top of my head, I think this is definitely one of the most, if not the most chaotic, like co-worker-colleague relationship we've covered, particularly in a band setting, because that was a bit, there's a lot of chaos there. So I'll be very curious to see if you guys interpreted any of that differently. And if you have made it this far, please consider subscribing for more. I post these readings weekly. And besides that, give this video a like, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!